but the important factor is that they are closed out prior to expiration. Roughly around 20% or so expire without value, and the rest, those are the contracts that get exercised. Here's another question. If I'm long a call on a stock that goes ex-dividend tomorrow, I instruct my broker to exercise the call before the close of business today. Will I receive that dividend? And here's a perfect example of something that gets closed out ahead of time. If you are exercising your contract early, you would be closing out that contract prior to its expiration date. Now, when it comes to options, one of the ways that they differ from stockholders is the rights that stockholders enjoy that option buyers and sellers do not. One of which, aside from voting rights, is dividend payments. So dividend payments are only paid to shareholders. If you own a call option, you are not a shareholder. You own the right to become a shareholder, but you are not a shareholder yet. You're not a shareholder until you exercise that contract and receive those shares. Now, the good news is when you do exercise, the day you exercise, you are considered a shareholder of record. So if I exercise my call options today and I pay my strike price times 100, I will take delivery of those 100 shares of stock. Now, that stock may not hit my account until tomorrow because of that T+1 settlement. Transaction date +1 is how options settle currently. I may not actually see those shares in my account until tomorrow, or if I exercise on Friday, I likely wouldn't see those shares until Monday morning, that next business day. But I am technically a shareholder today. So if there is a dividend being paid, coming up, I would be eligible for that dividend. Now, the ex-dividend date, ex is Latin, and it means without in this case. So the ex-dividend date is the date upon which the shares trade without the dividend attached to it. Therefore, as an option buyer or seller, let's just say as an option investor, we need to make sure that we become a shareholder prior to the date when those shares no longer include that dividend. So it would be the day before the ex-dividend date is the last day for me to exercise my contract. So if I exercise today, with tomorrow being the ex-div date, I get those shares. They'll hit my account tomorrow, but I've got all of the rights and obligations of a shareholder as of my exercise. So the answer to this question is, as long as we exercise that contract prior to the ex-div date, we are entitled to that dividend. Now, it also means as a seller, if we get assigned prior to that ex-dividend date, we are going to be selling dividend-paying stock. So early exercise is always going to be a worry of option sellers, covered call sellers specifically. And we'll get into early exercise in just a little bit. But the point being is that as a seller, I have the obligation to deliver dividend-paying stock, assuming I get assigned prior to that ex-dividend date, which is another reason why, as a seller, maybe I would close out that option prior to the close of business because I don't want to lose that dividend. I don't want to lose my stock that has that dividend attached. So maybe I close out my short call by buying it back to close and just calling it a day, or maybe I roll that option. I buy back my soon to expire short call. I buy that to close, and I sell to open. Something maybe a week down the road, 3 weeks down the road, what have you. Rolling that option. But again, another example of how options get closed out ahead of time. Let's look at a couple others. In order to exercise, do I have to have cash or stock in my account? Short answer, yes, especially if you're buying options. But again, this is a homework assignment number 3 for you. And I hope you're keeping notes. Homework assignment number 3, talk to your broker. What is their process? What